Coming up on 5-Minute News. Joe Biden to meet with China's president on Monday for crucial talks. Trump urged to delay 2024 announcement after GOP results. And at COP27, Nancy Pelosi accuses Republicans of thinking the climate crisis is a hoax. It's Friday, November 11. I'm Anthony Davis. President Joe Biden will meet on Monday with President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of next week's Group of 20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, a face-to-face meeting that comes amid increasingly strained US-China relations, the White House announced on Thursday. It will be the first in-person meeting between the leaders of the world's two biggest economies since Biden became president in January 2021, and comes weeks after Xi was awarded a norm-breaking third 5-year term as the Chinese Communist Party leader during the party's National Congress. The White House has been working with Chinese officials over the last several weeks to arrange the meeting. Biden on Wednesday told reporters that he intended to discuss with Xi growing tensions between Washington and Beijing over the self-ruled island of Taiwan, trade policies, Beijing's relationship with Russia, and more. As President Biden has repeatedly taken China to task for human rights abuses against the Uyghur people and other ethnic minorities, Beijing's crackdowns on democracy activists in Hong Kong, coercive trade practices, military provocations against self-ruled Taiwan, and differences over Russia's prosecution of its war against Ukraine. Weeks before Vladimir Putin launched his invasion of Ukraine, the Russian president met with Xi in Beijing, and the two issued a memorandum expressing hopes of a no-limits relationship for their nations. It was supposed to be a red wave that former President Donald Trump could triumphantly ride to the Republican nomination as he prepares to launch another White House run. Instead, Tuesday night's disappointing results for the GOP are raising new questions about Trump's appeal and the future of a party that has fully embraced him, seemingly at its peril, while at the same time giving new momentum to his most potent potential rival. Indeed, some allies were calling on Trump to delay his planned announcement next week, saying the party's full focus needs to be on Georgia, where Trump-backed football great Herschel Walker's effort to unseat Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is headed to a runoff that could determine control of the Senate once again. Trump sought to use the midterms as an opportunity to prove his enduring political influence after losing the White House in 2020. He endorsed more than 330 candidates in races up and down the ballot, often elevating inexperienced and deeply flawed candidates. He reveled in their primary victories, but many of their positions, including echoing Trump's lies about a stolen 2020 election and embracing hardline views on abortion, were out of step with the political mainstream. Trump did notch some wins on Tuesday, but he lost some of the night's biggest prizes, particularly in Pennsylvania, where Dr. Mehmet Oz, who only narrowly won his Senate primary with Trump's backing, lost to Democrat John Fetterman. Trump-backed candidates also lost governor's races in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Maryland, and a Senate race in New Hampshire, though Trump seemed to celebrate the latter, bashing Republican Dan Bolduc for trying to moderate his stances by backing off his embrace of Trump's election lies. The US Speaker Nancy Pelosi has accused Republicans of treating the climate crisis like it's all a hoax, while at the COP27 climate talks in Egypt, where the US delegation is attempting to remain upbeat about continued progress on dealing with global heating, despite uncertainty over the midterm election results. Pelosi made a surprise appearance at the climate summit in Sharm el-Sheikh on Thursday. The trip may be one of Pelosi's last as Speaker, with most forecasts predicting Republicans will eke out a narrow majority in the House. There has been, shall we say, a disagreement on the subject of the climate crisis between the parties, Pelosi said at COP27, adding that Republicans have said, "Why are we having this discussion? There is no climate crisis. It's all a hoax." "We have to get over that. This is urgent. Long overdue," she said. Pelosi's appearance at COP27 comes at a critical point for the future of democracy in the US and the future of the planet. Joe Biden was able to pass the country's most significant piece of climate legislation this year because Democrats have the majority in both the House and the Senate. With that set to change, the mounting anger at the US for obstructing meaningful global climate action, despite being the world's largest polluter and richest country, may only get worse. Faced with inconclusive midterm election results, the mood among many veteran climate activists and negotiators from developing countries is one of indifference. Representatives of developing countries have criticized the US at COP27 for repeatedly failing to deliver promised funding to help them deal with the crippling impacts of floods, fires, and droughts, as well as transition to clean energy. Poorer nations are pushing for loss and damage finance to help them cope with the climate crisis that they didn't cause. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.